Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Betfair Trading Show with me, your host Martin, and of course our lovely guest today, Ryan Carruthers, back in the hot seat. How are you, Ryan?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Apart from having a ridiculous cough.
Yeah, Ryan's pretty ill today, so he's promised that when he coughs like that, he's gonna put it on mute. I don't know what sort of ill, whether he's caught COVID or something, but it's not looking sharp, is it?
No. Do you know what? I went to see my hairdresser last week and he just stood there and he was like, I was like, are you ill? He's like, yeah, mate, this is the worst I've ever felt. I'm like, why am I here? Why didn't you tell me? And then, I just
Mad.
proceeded. The weekend I was really bad, but now it's just this cough.
It's amazing how many people, when they're really ill, still do everything. So, like, school's the worst. The amount of parents, because they just can't do anything with their kids, so they send them in when they're half dead, and it's like we're obviously all going to get really ill now. Cheers. Yeah. Hi, Malcolm. Good to see you today. We'll put your comment up here.
I know that Donna's not going to be able to catch it today, bless her. She pre-messaged us to say she won't be able to. So little shout out to Donna there as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully Donna you'll be watching on Catch Up, and hello to all the guys who do watch on Catch Up. I know a lot of you can't do the 11 a.m. slot. Actually, got a bit of an announcement for you today. In a week and a bit, maybe a week and a half, I can't quite do the maths, maybe 2 weeks, we've got the Betfair Trading Community Christmas party.
Yeah. So it's in 2 weeks. It's literally 2 weeks. Yeah. It's on the 21st, isn't it?
21st. I was thinking 18th. I don't know why. Yeah. Okay. 21st of December, 8 p.m. So it's going to be 8 p.m. So it will be a lot better for most of you. Although Malcolm, it might not be great for you in Australia. But yeah, Christmas party, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. 21st of December, Christmas party, Betfair Trading Community Christmas party. It's going to be a ton of fun. Make sure you bookmark this date. Put this date in your calendar. It's going to be fun. It's going to be me, Ryan, and Adam. So it'll be all three of us. I've got some balloons and we're going to have some food and stuff. Obviously not during that. But also going to have
our basically party. It's just an hour of us eating food.
Yeah, that's no. I've actually got some quizzes and stuff planned, a sports quiz. So get involved because I want to see who's the best kind of sports quizzer of all our viewers. So yeah, if you're into quizzes and things, it'll be for you. Maybe some charades as well. I'm thinking. I don't know how Ryan and Adam are with that, but we always seem to play that in the Futter household at Christmas. But yeah, it's Malcolm. It's 11 a.m. here, so it'll be 9 hours later. So it'll be 4 a.m. where you are, Malcolm, in Australia.
You might not want to get up for that, mate.
I'm sorry, mate, but the problem is 95% of our viewers are in UK, so
we'll have to try and remember though to give Malcolm a shout out on the Christmas show because he always turns up for these ones and he always
get up early. Come on, 4 a.m. is not.
Yeah, it's only one night.
4 a.m. probably once a week at least with the kids.
The kids. Yeah, likely story.
Well, yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't believe you.
You don't believe that I get up at 4 sometimes?
No. Well, I think you get up at 4, but I don't think it's for the kids. I think there's probably something else going on.
I don't really know what you're getting at, but yeah. Oh, mute it. I'll get up and work actually sometimes at that time. Yeah, don't think it. Come on, Malcolm. You want to party, right? People party at 4 a.m. That's my theory. Okay, Ryan. So what I'm interested in today, most of all, not Christmas parties, is your interesting question of the week. I have like I say, I never have any idea of what this is, so it's always really good to find out and be put on the spot. But what's your question this week, Ryan?
So my question this week is, and this was inspired because I know that we've got quite a lot of parents of younger children in the audience, is what is, Martin, the child's book that you have that you're reading through at night and you just hate? Like, what's the worst children's book in your house that if your kid says, Dad, can we read that? It's like, oh, God.
Well, I'm actually going to do a book, but my son is really into Mr. Men at the moment. And I basically, when I was a kid, I got all that. Do you remember they had like 40 Mr. Men books? And if you bought them all, they made this kind of picture with this worm and it said My Mr. Men Library.
Mm-hmm.
So I had all of those, like over the years, I collected them. And then now he's got them. So he's obsessed with them. But the biggest problem actually is when he loses one, because he's got so many and like they're so easy to lose, these little books, and you know they take them everywhere with them. They don't just keep them in one place, and all hell breaks loose. But I'm actually gonna, I'm glad you've brought this up, because my other son, who's younger, he's really into this show on BBC iPlayer or CBeebies called Bing.
Oh,
have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's the worst children's show ever made, right? And I'll tell you why. Because if any of you've got kids and you've watched this show Bing, it's just a show of jeopardy. Because at the start, it's just this little kids. I mean, they're not kids; they're like rabbits or something. But like, and they're in this weird world where their parents are smaller than them, which I don't understand either. And their parents look like teddy bears or whatever. But anyway, regardless of all that, that's fine. It's a kids show. Every episode, something bad has to happen to Bing, right? He has to either, he's wishing he gets a toy and he gets the wrong toy, or he locks himself in a room, or I'm trying to think of some others on the spot. There's one where he wants to go out and see fireworks, but oh no, of course the fireworks are too loud and he hurts his ears and he has to go inside. Every single show has one of these moments. So you're sitting there knowing, this it's coming. It's rubbish. Most of the time it's about morality. So it's like, oh, look, it's okay. You accidentally swap lunch boxes, but hey, this is your one. This is your one. Just give it back. And it's like, these supposed to be shows for children to enjoy. Let them just enjoy some TV. Why do we always have to be trying to teach them something or give them some kind of life lesson when they're watching CBeebies, he's so whingy as well, Bing. And he's a bit of a spoiled brat. He's like proper spoiled brat. And his dad, I mean, I say his dad, he's like half the size of him. I don't understand it. It's the most annoying character ever, right? So every time Bing sneezes, right, his dad goes, achie, afterwards. So if he's having a whole episode where he's sneezing, he goes, achoo, achie. And like the whole episode, it's so frustrating.
Oh,
and he always says at the end of like most episodes, he goes, or at some point in the episode, he goes, good for you, Bing Bunny. And like, he's just so annoying. He's frustrating. He's just like the soppest. Honestly, that show, it should be axed. It should be got rid of. It should be
I need
banned.
to keep it away from Isla then, Bing. I will definitely do that.
But honestly, I could talk about that for hours. Anyway, Ryan, what's your one?
Well, I think I love this, that we know the audience that well, and we're not just. That's why I love this show as well, because we're not just talking about trading. We're not just traders, and it really, really highlights the community as well. We know our members really, really well. We talk about loads of stuff inside of the community, so that's why I love this question. For me, the book that I really hate reading is an Axel Scheffler, Julia Donaldson one, which I normally like some of those, like Room on the Broom and all those ones. But The Smartest Giant in Town, I can't stand that book. If I can't stand it. If she hands me that book and goes, Daddy, I'm just like, oh my God, I just don't like it. It's about a bloke who's a giant who he wears these like flip-flop things and then this like long dress, and then he becomes the smartest giant in town, and then he ends up, spoiler alert, he ends up giving away all of his clothes, and the rhyme drives me mad. Like, my shirt is a sale for a goat, and I'm just like, I hate this book. I hate this book with a passion. But do you know what? I really love Bluey, the TV show. Like, I like Bluey. Isla loves Bluey. It's amazing. Yes, Amy, The Snail and the Whale is a cracker, but The Smartest Giant in Town, no love for that at Oh, Andy
Yeah, they
came
are
here
good, some of
for
those.
Betfair stuff. We're gonna get there, mate. We're gonna get there.
You know, Andy, sometimes we could have I mean, bear in mind, me and Ryan talk about Betfair pretty much our whole working day. So, like, at least 8 hours, probably more likely 12 hours a day. We're talking about Betfair. So, give us 5 minutes to talk about something that, we spend a lot of our time with our children with. Anyway.
And look at the comments. People are loving this question.
Yeah,
Jonathan,
exactly.
like,
I don't think our comments have lit up as much as this.
No. I
Andy,
don't
I think
do
you're
the
on your
trick.
own here.
I don't do the trick where I skip forward pages. I can't, in good faith or conscience, do that to Isla. I can't. And
right, should we go through some of the
slow.
comments?
Yeah.
Hi, Amy, by the way, and hi to Wayne and Andrew. Good to see you here. I hate Bing. He's so whingy, says Amy. And you're right. Andrew, Bing always having a nightmare. Poor flop, having to deal with the drama. GB84 says, good morning, boys. My little ones love Curious George. I don't know if I've seen or read Curious George, to be fair. And he says, not sure why this is about kids' TV shows. And then Amy says, Snail and the Whale, which we mentioned. Good book there. Jonathan likes We're Going on a Bear Hunt. So repetitive. We're going on a bear hunt. There's different versions of that as well. Like where it's not a bear hunt. It's
I've got like the elf one and
Wayne says I read Betfair Trading to my toddler.
Top marks, Wayne.
We'll give you an ebook that Ryan will send you an ebook you can read to your toddler.
Oh, yeah.
Do either you do the trick where you turn over free? You can't really get away with this. Is sorry for people listening on podcasts. This is do either of you do the trick where you're turning 3 pages at a time to get over with it? You can't get away with this for kids for very long once they get to a certain age. My biggest little one, I can't even skip words anymore because he can read. So he knows, like, suddenly there's 3 paragraphs on a Mr. Men page. I'm only reading 1 sentence. Malcolm says, I have no kids yet, so can't answer. Malcolm, enjoy these blissful years of your life. Enjoy these blissful years of not having kids, because the freedom you have is unbelievable. You don't even appreciate the freedom you have right now. Also, enjoy the money you have, because you will not appreciate the money you have, because it doesn't matter how much money you get once you got kids. It's not enough. That's what I've learned. Anyway. So
it's just the next level, isn't it? It's just the next level all the time. You just you go do that. It's just mental. It is
exactly
mental.
So we're going to do a little bit of a trading review now. But it's kind of going to be more of a work review for me. So I'll start it off right, and then I'll just hand over to you and talk about what you want to. But I've been working really, really hard this week, crazy hard actually, but it's been worth it because I've basically transformed the members football filters in the software and the horse racing members filters in the software. So if you're on the horse racing and you're wondering what's happened to the software, I at the time of us going live, it was in maintenance because basically I'm getting Adam to update all the presets so that we've got these 6 really solid preset strategies for everyone to use. And they're basically the ones that I'm sending out on the daily email. But also I did a video on this on the weekend. So if you haven't watched that yet, I know most of you probably have because it's had really good viewing figures, but go and watch that because it kind of gives a review of the strategies that I'm putting up that have been doing really well and have been sent by members. So I've done all of that. I've also created training videos for all of these strategies. So they'll be going out in the next few weeks. And I'll be updating the strategy sections on the site. But basically, my aim has been to try and get all the members' strategies very easy to find, very easy to use, very easy to follow, and very easy to copy and emulate. If you want to actually go and use these as part of your foundation for your trading, then why not start with strategies that are making money? It makes sense, right? So yeah, that's basically been most of my week doing this kind of work. But sometimes I find, I don't know if you find this, Ryan, but sometimes I find when you're trading on Betfair or when you're trying to prepare stuff like that, you're doing work on strategies and things like that, you're actually setting yourself up for the future. So actually, most of my work this week has been off Betfair, but it's for the fact that actually I'm setting myself up with strategies and things that are going to be able to help me in the long term. So actually a really good week, really productive week for me. Also done some training videos on the software itself, because we had some people that had looked at the software and were kind of like, oh, I can't really get my head around it. So I've done a couple of extra videos and I've added some text to it as well, so that you can actually have tasks to do while you're learning to use the software. But the main video I've done that I think is really going to help people is it's a walkthrough strategy creation video where we actually go through it together and we actually create a strategy as we go along. So yeah, it's been a really good week actually for me. How about you, Ryan? How's your week been?
Wow. Well, look at you, you little show off. How do I follow that? And we've got our meeting to follow, so I'm going to hear that again. So I'll just be like, you right, little show off this week. Top work. Firstly, I agree with you on the point as well about, yeah, it's not actually trading, but it's setting yourself up for trading. I think a lot of traders, there is a nugget in there. A lot of traders think that to actually be getting better on Betfair at trading, you have to be physically doing a trade. There's so much else that goes into it to make you better at trading. So I think that's a really, really good point to sort of raise for people to understand. For me, it's been good. I had one of my new first half lay the draw selections over the last few days. It wasn't in the World Cup, and that won. So that was really, really good. That was nice. And I've just been doing halftime lay the draw in the World Cup. It's been phenomenal. There's been some really, really, really good results. I'm kicking myself because I put on the forum about how I thought Japan's price was too high, but normally Japan go one down. And I mean, it was like, I think at the time it was 4.2. Yeah. They were. And I said, I think that they'll probably go one down and then I'll look to back them because they'll come back into it. And obviously they went 1-0 up. Then I'm kicking myself because I knew that they were value. I could see that they were value. I knew it. So yeah, but yeah, it was a cracker. I've done quite well from the World Cup. Like my one tick recycle has been dynamite as well. So I've shared that strategy on YouTube, and I shared it a few weeks ago before the World Cup started, so that everyone could use it, where you find favorites under 2.0, and it's just been working really, really well for me, really well. So yeah, that's what's been happening for me.
And I think actually there's one yesterday I think that was interesting, was that Morocco, when they played Spain, just in the match odds market, Spain were really short odds, like heavy odds on. And I was kind of thinking, like, why? Because if you actually look, so Morocco won their group, right? They actually won their group. Spain didn't. Yeah. So Japan won Spain's group. Spain didn't even win their group, right? Spain won one match. Okay, it was 7-0, which I think sometimes when you get a result like that, it kind of skews everything. But they essentially, this World Cup, they won 1 out of 4 matches, which isn't great. And that was against Costa Rica. I think we can all accept now a pretty terrible team. I don't know how they beat Japan. I really don't. But what's interesting with this, I think, is that I feel a lot of the time like the market is created by public opinion or bookmakers. And a lot of the time, they're not looking at form and things like that. They're looking at the past. Because if you look at Spain, what have Spain done since like 2010? Right? In the last few tournaments, they've been awful. Right? If you've watched them play, they've been pretty awful. And Morocco were really impressive in this tournament. I mean, they've won quite a tough group. So I don't understand sometimes how. Now, I'm not saying Spain shouldn't have been favourites. They should have been favourites. But to have them heavy odds on in that situation, I think it's the effect. And again, this is something to look out for in your trading. I think this is the effect you saw with Man United a few years ago, where once Fergie left, they were still the same price for every match. But you're thinking, this isn't the same team. And this happened for years. It's kind of got back to normal, to reality a bit now, but this went on for years and years. And so if you can see a situation like that, take advantage of them. And it's funny because I was saying about, and I've found this, Ryan, I don't know if you found this, but during the World Cup, if you're looking at the momentum of teams and how they're playing, if you back a team that's got the momentum at that moment, most of the time it was going your way, right? So if you're watching a game and you're seeing that, oh, actually, this team's well on top, I'm going to back them, then that would pay dividends. And we were seeing that time and time again, sometimes 2 or 3 times during a match, right? Mm. Someone messaged me, and this is the mistake people make. So if someone messaged me and go, I don't know what you're talking about, Martin. Actually, you know, if you'd backed in this World Cup, you'd have lost loads of money because lots of favourites have lost. Yes, that's the point. You don't back on momentum based on who's a favourite in the match. Mm. Most of the time, actually, you're backing the underdog, because what will happen is that they will get momentum at some point and their odds will be tasty and value. And that's the important thing to remember. You know, I wasn't going to back Spain yesterday at 1.5, even if they had momentum, because where's the value in that? However, if you get a team that's 2.5, it's a different story, right? So when you're backing momentum, you've got to try and take yourself. I always say to people, try and remove yourself from the odds, right? Because I feel like so many people, bettors, traders, they make their decisions based on what they've looked at the market and then gone, oh, wait, this team's a favorite. Well, it must win then.
Yep.
Rather than actually going, what's happening in front of me right now? What's happening in front? Was there any moment in that Spain match yesterday where you felt they should have been odds on? Yet even at halftime, they were still odds on. So it's like the market does not reflect what's happening in front of you. And that's where you can get an advantage in these markets. And I've seen it time and time again in this World Cup. Now, of course, you're going to get situations where it goes against you. It's the same with anything in trading. But the reality is most of the time it's gone for you. And I actually feel like in international football, it's more predictable in that way. I don't know what it is, but I think club football is a bit different, especially Premier League. Like, you can watch a lot of Premier League games where a team's on top, and the other team scores, and you're like, how did that happen? Doesn't happen so much in internationals, I find. But anyway, yeah, that's just kind of something to round off on in the World Cup. Yeah, Jonathan. I mean, Portugal have been good. I mean, I tipped them, I think, in their second group game where they were just above evens, and they're looking good. I mean, and you've got to think their path now is not too bad, is it? So they're probably going to play the winner of England-France, aren't they? I think they're in that half. So essentially, that is a tough one for them. But they've got a decent route, haven't they, to the semi-finals at least? And would you say we'd be favourites against Portugal? I'm not sure. Would they be favourites?
Yeah, but that's saying we get past France.
Exactly. Well, France will probably be slight favourites against Portugal, but I don't think it'll be, that clear-cut favourite. So they've got a good chance now, I think. If you're looking for one of the more outsiders that started, it's annoying because I backed them in the Euros for this exact reason, that they've got an amazing squad of players. Like, they should have done so much better there. So it's kind of frustrating now because I should have taken them here, because I took France for the same reason, and that's done well for me here. But yeah, it's one of those. It's always going to happen. But yeah, good point on Portugal there. Amy says, would you say England have momentum at the moment? Well, they do have momentum. The problem is England haven't really played anyone that you'd not expect them to beat. And this is difficult in tournament football when you get the bigger nations. It's the same with Brazil. It's the same with Argentina. These teams haven't really been tested. So when you're playing lesser opposition, it's very hard to work out where you're at. I mean, look at Spain with Costa Rica, right? Everyone watched that and thought, God, they're one of the favorites now. They could win the World Cup. They haven't even made it to the last 8, right? So it's difficult. I mean, Simon Jordan actually on TalkSport made a good point yesterday where he said, look at all the games Gareth Southgate's won in major tournaments. How many of them were against teams we shouldn't have beaten? In the World Cup, 2018 knockouts. Was it Colombia? And we only just got through them on penalties. And then was it Sweden in the quarterfinal? So it wasn't like teams we wouldn't expect to beat. Now you have to go and beat these teams. It's not always easy to go out and beat lesser opposition, but you can't be lauded for doing so. You want to see what actually happens against this game against France is a perfect example of you're going to have to watch and see what happens. Because, there could be a chance where it depends how you feel. Like you might not ever want to bet against England, but there could be a chance where France come out well on top and you go, do you know what? I fancy France here. And they'll actually be a decent price in the match odds because they're not going to be odds on. I think they're going to be around 6-4 or something like that. And they're only slight favourites, but it could be the other way around. England could look well on top. One thing that I always think in this situation could be a good move is if England go 1-0 up to lay England at odds on, because especially if any momentum goes France's way, France can come back and score. We saw this happen against Italy. So if you're looking at similar opposition, Italy in the Euros final, when we went 1-0 up, we just totally let them come and attack us. And I feel like, I don't know if Southgate will have learned to not be quite as... And I don't know if it's a psychological thing, like players do it anyway, even if the manager says not to. They start to, get a bit more defensive. And then Croatia in the last World Cup, we went 1-0 up and we ended up losing 2-1. I think it was an extra time, wasn't it? But, they still came back. So you could have laid odds on there and made a profit. So if you're looking from a trading perspective on that game, that's what I'd do. It's a difficult one because you're going to have a lot of heart involved with it. So I understand if some people don't want to trade that match. I'm not even sure what I'll do at this stage. It's a bit early. GB84 says our weakest part of the team is defense going up against France. But you never know. Well, that's true. That is true. But then again, he's probably going to play 3 defensive midfielders. So, hopefully that does help out a bit.
Yeah, but then you've still got that attack. Griezmann will find space, and Giroud is experienced against English opposition. He is, and Mbappe is ridiculous. He is ridiculous, that lad.
Yeah, and and the Ponce De Leon saying here France looked good value at 2.56, and that's hard to argue with. I'm not going to take that price pre-match because I want to see how the game starts. But that's not an awful price. I do agree. Would they win it 5 out of 10? It's so hard to say, isn't it? I do really fear France. I just think that's why I backed them at the start of the tournament. I think their squad is so strong. You go, Pogba's out and Conte's out, but it doesn't really make a difference when you've got that kind of squad depth. I'm not sure that it's particularly a loss. Pogba's done well for France, but there's lots of people that can step into that midfield. If you watched, I think it was the first show we did, wasn't it, Ryan? If you watched that or listened to that, we actually spoke about how deep the squad was and actually listed all the players. We literally Googled it at that time. It was crazy.
Ridiculous team.
Yeah, and so, but then England, we've got a lot of depth and we are a good team. It's going to be a heck of a game. I've not got much confidence. I'm definitely not one of those, England are going to win it. I don't, but I never feel that way. So when, a team I follow is playing someone who's just as strong or slightly better, we're going to need a bit of luck. We're going to need a little bit of fortune. Maybe we deserve that after all these years, Other countries seem to get it. Jonathan, is it bad morally to bet against England?
Nope.
I mean, no. Yeah, exactly. No, there's nothing morally bad. In fact, it can be quite a good thing sometimes to soften the blow.
Yeah,
because if you back France, you're not going to really care if you lose the money. Well, I wouldn't anyway. But if you get a nice little winner and England are out, it kind of softens the blow of being devastated that England are out. So, when you're looking at that angle, maybe that's the angle to go. Although I just really, most of the time, I kind of don't really do that myself. I'm more interested in looking for value. And if the team is looking stronger, then I will back them. If England go 1-up, I'll definitely be laying England. And I'll hope that I hope that I lose money. That's the weird thing about it. Yeah, so imagine if Benzema was that. I mean, if Benzema, this is the thing though. Even without Benzema, I mean, Giroud is so underrated.
Oh,
I said
so
this, didn't I?
underrated.
Do you remember? I said this at the start of the tournament. Giroud basically won AC Milan the Serie A last year with his goals. He just pops up at the right time.
He's their top goal scorer as well. He scored more goals than Henry now.
Yeah. I predict, this is John Crook, I predict an Argentina-Portugal final. That would be a good final. I mean, the thing is, we are set up now, I think, for incredible quarterfinals. So, we've got some really good... So what is it? It's Netherlands-Argentina, which again... Okay, Argentina will be favourite. There's not a ton in that. That could be a cracking game.
I've not traded out of my Netherlands trade either.
Yet?
No.
Well, the price hasn't really come in the way I thought it might.
No, same.
Which is frustrating. And then the England-France game, obviously incredible. Who are Brazil playing? Oh, Croatia. I think Brazil probably win that, don't they?
I think Brazil cruise past Croatia.
I haven't liked Croatia that much in this tournament yet. And then Portugal playing Morocco, which you expect Portugal to get through. But, Morocco, Ziyech and who's Hakimi?
He's never played for Chelsea like that, has he, Ziyech?
I don't know. He has his moments, but he's not consistent. But he can have games where he looks world class.
It was unbelievable last night.
Yeah, and that Hakimi down the wing, he used to play for Inter, so I used to watch him a bit, and he's probably the best attacking right back I've seen, because he's just incredible. He's up there. Is it Cancelo on the right for Man City? He's up there with that. Honestly,
are you forgetting another right back who is probably the best attacking right back in world football?
Who can't even get into his own national team.
Oh, well, yeah, but then so this is one of the strange things I don't understand. Gareth Southgate knows how to get the best out of Phil Foden and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course he does, but doesn't play them. And two of the best managers in the world right now, Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, play them every single week. So I'll leave that there.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ryan's talking about, by the way, in case you didn't know that. He's a Liverpool fan.
Best right back that there is. Best right back.
Malcolm, last World Cup, I laid England to make the semis and took a hit. Yeah, I don't think you can really oppose England that much anymore. Not in the way you used to be able to. I think that Southgate has definitely turned the tide in terms of we're beating who we should beat now. What I want to see is us beat someone that we're not favourites against. So this France one is actually a big test. But that said, we've grown up without England making major tournaments. And it's been no doubt with Southgate whether we make the tournament, has there?
Nope. Always
had to take a stop loss. Yeah. I mean, I just don't think England are a layable team in those situations now. Not in the outrights, at those kinds of odds. And again, you might want to do it in a match odds in a match like this. I'm looking forward to the Brazil and Argentina semi. What a game that will be, by the way, if it gets Brazil-Argentina. I mean, the thing is, right, I don't know if anyone else has found, I've not been mega excited about this World Cup. I've not been into it as much as I am into the summer ones. I think part of it is there's so much going on this time of year, like with other sports and with Christmas around the corner and stuff like that, just life in general, that the games have just been coming thick and fast, which I actually don't mind. I've quite enjoyed, because you're not sitting around waiting for the next game like you are in some of these tournaments. However, for some reason, they're having a couple of days off, which I don't really understand, because the last 16 games were really spaced out. So they could have just had a quarterfinal each day, really, couldn't they? They could have had one today, one tomorrow, one Saturday, one Sunday. I don't really understand why they're having two, or even just have today off and then start the quarters tomorrow. I don't really understand why they're having 2 days off. But I know it's to recover players and probably make it fairer for each team so that the schedules get lined up a bit. But, it's one of those. Malcolm, let's have a look at this comment from Malcolm. think last World Cup, Harry Kane was going off and was on fire too. Yeah, but he hasn't needed to be, has he, this time? England are getting goals from everywhere. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. So anyway, we should probably get on with the main topic of this, this show and podcast as well, if you're listening on podcast. And basically what we want to talk about really is our trading Christmas wish list. So Ryan, do you want to start with this, or I can start? What do you want
I'm going to let you go because you came up with this. So I kind of need you to start as well, so I know what you're on about.
So I thought it's an interesting time of year, right? Because I think everyone's thinking about Christmas. My kids' nativity, I'm going to that tomorrow, and my wife's going today. So just everything is about Christmas now. Advent calendars getting opened every day. So I thought about if I could write a Christmas list, right? And I don't need to write a Christmas list for stuff, because when you're an adult, you've got your own money, you tend to get your own stuff, right? You don't get the presents you got when you're a kid. You don't, write down these lists. I thought, what would I write a list for? And what I would write a list for is trading, because I think, what is the thing I always think about? And what do I want more of? What would I want more of? So I actually wrote out a little Christmas trading list. And I've got it here. Okay, so it's just like 2 or 3 things, right? Don't worry, it's not like it's not that complex. But
right now, I feel like trading Santa. I feel like you are metaphorically sat on my lap, telling me you've been a good boy, and you're about to give me a whole list of things you want.
And number 1 on that list is football back testing.
Oh, nice.
And I think that probably most people listening and watching, that would be number 1. If you're a football trader, you know that we're working hard on the football back testing. We haven't spoken about it that much because we spoke loads about the horse racing software for months, and then it took so long. But I think that, Ryan, I think we can safely say it. We're going to have it drop in 2023. So the progress that Adam has made has been phenomenal in this short amount of time. He's already kind of got a kind of mini beta version up and working a bit. So
which we've seen as well.
Yeah. So which was miles ahead of where we were on the horse racing, which, that stage probably took 2.5 years to get to. So yeah, that's my number 1 on my list. I'm so excited. I can't wait to test all these strategies that, we've been forward testing. Look at all the back tests, see how they've been doing over the years. It's just going to be phenomenal. So that's number 1 on my list. Number 2 on my list is a cricket related one. You don't often hear much cricket chat on here. Malcolm, the test match was phenomenal. You're right. I did see your comment earlier, by the way. And cricket on betfairtradingcommunity.com. People might not realize this because we don't have software for it. It's actually really popular. Like, we've got a really good core set of guys on the cricket trading thread on the forum, making loads of money trading cricket. If you're interested in cricket, get on the forum, right? And get over there and go and chat to those guys and work with those guys, because the work they're doing is phenomenal. And I just love it. But my wish is that there was more test cricket, more test matches, right? Because this past week, we have seen incredible just value yet again in test match cricket. I think Richard, my dad, actually put on the forum on the final day, he said, in these situations, I just lay the draw. And, it even got close to a draw and it still wasn't a draw. It's amazing in test cricket how much you can actually just follow patterns and look at history and go, well, this isn't going to happen, or, things like this. So it was an exciting game. I know that the guys made obviously loads of money. If you go on the thread, you can actually see the history of that. And they're just doing it day to day. So more test cricket, please, because it's dying out a bit, test cricket. But it's the best, for me, it's the best one to trade in. And I think as well, for somebody who doesn't want to sit there and watch every ball for 5 days, it's one where you can go, right, this is my trade. This is where I'm going to try and get out. Like, you might go, right, I'm going to trade today and then I aim to exit tomorrow, or I'll have a look later in the day. There's not many sports you can do that with, because there's not many sports that last that long. If you're trading a football match, you sure as hell better be watching that football match, or at least be keeping an eye on all the stats and stuff while it's in play. Otherwise, you're not going to know when to exit. And by the time it's finished, less than 2 hours have gone. You've missed your opportunity. So yeah, that's second on my list. And I think third on my list is something that I'm kind of working on with BetfairTradingCommunity.com, and that is just making things easier to follow. So just making it. So this week I've actually started a daily email for the horse racing. So I'm now sending out daily email advice for the horse racing. And all I'm using is the preset strategies, the members' strategies that have been doing well, so that it's open to everyone. It's not, it's not something that only I've got. You guys all have access to it. But it's just making it easier for everyone. I'm going, right, these are the good selections today. Go and research those, or go and trade those if you want to. The same with football. Getting all the members' presets kind of set up so it's so easy for you to follow and understand and be able to do. It's like the horse racing one. Did you like this for an idea, Ryan? Because you probably haven't. Well, you wouldn't have seen this yet because it's only in my one. Basically, I've named the filters what the rules are.
Oh yes, I like that.
So it's something like, it'll be something like, lay the pace horses, and then it's just you lay at odds, whatever. So you literally know basically all the rules other than the entry time. But again, that's something you can just check on the software, or read or watch the strategy videos, and you can get that. But it's just absolutely brilliant that it's so easy to do. And it's just, my kind of goal is to make Betfair trading so easy for traders that, you have to learn a little bit here and there, but basically you're getting it all set out for you, your path of how to become a profitable trader. I know Ryan's already done a ton of great work on that this year. And I think that my wish is that by the end of next year, everyone will say, oh, this is so easy to do. Thank you so much. And I don't get emails where people are like, oh, there's just so much information, I'm confused. I know we've kind of worked on that and sorted that out massively. But it's always a challenge for us because we've got a site that's basically the hub of information for Betfair traders, that if you want to get good at Betfair trading, the information is on there. And because there's so much of it, naturally it can get a bit overwhelming. So my goal is to make all that so easy and to kind of give you a path. And then if you want to explore the other stuff, you can, but find out what the fundamental stuff is that you need to know and you need to follow to become a profitable trader. That's kind of my Christmas wish. But that's it for me, Ryan, really. And so, what are your Christmas wishes this year?
My Christmas wishes for this year. Oh gosh. I'm with you on the back testing. I would love the football back testing. I genuinely believe that the future of Betfair trading is going to be people back testing their strategies, using software to do that, like ours, then getting those selections every single day, just in sort of 2 or 3 clicks, like what our software does, and then automating those so that I can't even talk, I'm just coughing too much, so that you can just literally log in to software in the morning, those are your selections, drag them, put them on your automated software, job done. And then, okay, I have some time now to build another strategy. I'm going to use the backtesting engine to do that. That's sort of my number one Christmas wish. My second Christmas wish is that everybody would go through the Super Trader framework. So I've put those videos inside of BTC, but I've created it on a whole Google Doc where I've literally just detailed it all out. I don't know if I'm going to release that as a podcast or a video as of yet, but over my shoulder videos are inside BTC, but everybody can get the document for free. If you want to do that, if you go to Twitter and search for @Betfair Big T Big C, look at the pinned tweet, you'll be able to get it there. We can give you that then. I think it's on Twitter. I'll double check. I'm pretty sure it's on Twitter. So that's
that's at Betfair. That's at Betfair TC. I don't know if the capitals make any difference. I doubt it. But yeah, it's just TC, not Betfair Trading Community. It's just, that was too long. They wouldn't let us have that. It had to be Betfair TC.
Yeah, it's the pinned tweet. There's also a link to it on the profile, so you can see it says btc.thrivecart.com, BTC Super Trader. you can get that for free. So yeah, go and get that. That's my sort of second wish. My third wish would probably be, oh, I know what my third wish is. Legalize online trading, gambling on sports markets in America.
Yeah, every state.
Like every state. I know it's a couple of states right now, but seriously, every state for many, 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 many reasons. But I think number one, it would be like the old days of Betfair. You'd just be able to spot so many opportunities. Two, the liquidity would go through the roof. It would be crazy the amount of money that would come onto Betfair. And number three, their sports are already built for it. So the data around all of their sports, and the thing there as well is a lot of the models that you would create, a lot of the strategies you would create for the various sports, they would be the same. They would be the same across every single sport because of the way that data is collected. So yeah, that would be my trading list, my trading wish list, I think.
That's a good one. Malcolm says, I want live Betfair trading in Australia. I mean, can you believe that a country like Australia, that's supposed to be forward thinking, it's not massively religious, will not have live Betfair trading? It beggars belief. It beggars belief. What world are we living in? The kind of social controls some of these governments want to have, it just makes no sense to me. And yet I'm sure you can do other betting, can't you? No problem. So just nonsense. In fact, live betting's better because you can actually get out of your trades, and things like that. So if you're worried about people gambling, then surely you want them to trade rather than just punt. But there you go. Jonathan says, I agree. The more hands-off I can be, the better, because I'm my own worst enemy mentally. More automation, automated selections, so I can just set and forget. And if you notice, actually, all the strategies we're creating or have created, they can be automated. So loads of people now on BetfairTradingCommunity.com, they just buy one of the bot services, set up their bots, and they trade our selections each day from either their software picks or the members' software picks. So yeah, it's definitely growing and becoming the kind of go-to thing, I think. Malcolm says, I'm glad I found a hack in future markets that kind of lets you trade the quarterfinals onwards. Well, it's good that you're finding ways around not being able to trade live in Australia. But there you go. It is frustrating. Ponce De Leon says, Australia, you can put bets on at the pub. Dangerous the more you drink. But that's the thing. There's never any consistency with government legislation. That's what makes me laugh. They always say, we're trying to do the best for the people. No, they're not. They're not interested in that. The reason you can't live trade in Betfair in Australia has nothing to do with people's safety or anything like that. It will all be about Betfair do not pay them enough money. They don't want their revenue for Betfair going into wherever Betfair is based. So they and loads of countries do this. They try and stop Betfair because they don't want the taxes to go somewhere else. They want it to go to their bookmakers. So it's literally, that's all it is. So it's, if you ever hear that any of this legislation is to help people, it's utter nonsense. And Malcolm says, yeah, that's why I don't get it. Also, if you want to gamble on a horse, Betfair says, sure, you can do that live, but with sports, it's banned. So you can live trade horse racing. We need to get the Australian horses into the software, Ryan.
I think Adam mention that recently, though, about...
Yeah, it's part of the next thing, isn't it? But I think at the moment it's all about the football back testing. Roland, good to hear from you. In Australia, it must be a lot of Australians listening. I guess it's a handy time in the evening for Australians. And we do have quite a few Aussies on the forum as well, on the BetfairTradingCommunity.com site. So that's great. Always good to hear their perspective and also hear about other sports like Aussie rules, sports I know literally nothing about. Jonathan says, hang on, get those comments come up here. And more podcasts, Martin. You want more podcast? Actually, I've uploaded a lot of podcasts today. So there's one that released today, and they're twice weekly. So we did have to. I think we had a little 10-day break, but they're back again now. We basically used up all our allocated hours we're allowed to upload last month. So yeah, don't worry, there'll be plenty more podcasts coming. But yeah, I think that's it, Ryan. I think we'll call it there. Thanks for watching the show today. Thanks for being on the show, Ryan. Have you enjoyed it? Me.
Yeah, I love, you know me. I love coming and talking about trading, and me and you have worked together, and Adam, for so long now that we know each other really, really well. And it's always fun to do this.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, it's all good fun, isn't it? Hopefully we'll be back again. I think we'll be back in next week. We'll probably have a break around Christmas at some point, but we'll figure that out. And because Ryan's a busy man. I don't know where he's going on holiday where are you going on holiday this Christmas, Ryan?
I'm not going on holiday.
Yeah. It's a little joke I have with Ryan and Adam, because they're always going off somewhere, and I'm back here working hard. All right, guys, good to hear from you. Thanks for being involved. It's been loads of comments this show, which is always good. That's what keeps it going, really. You being here, you interacting, and even if you're listening later or watching later, we do really appreciate that. And if you've got anything you want us to answer, just email us or comment on the actual YouTube video after it's posted, and we will actually answer your questions, and we'll try and get them into next week's show. All right, guys, have a great week, and we'll speak to you soon.